Just he hasn't hit the pocket yet.
Down by 24 at the midway point. Yeah, I think in his mind it's time for a move, or do you become a little more conservative and say, hey, you know, there's always a possibility that Darrel Curtis could open somewhere down the line.
Well, he's still in the match. 20 pins can happen, change in a frame easily.
Flirting with disaster, one shot after another. He's been fortunate, to be quite honest with you, to still be close in the match.
Right, he could be shooting 150 right now real easily with some bad breaks.
Of course, after missing a 10 pin in the opening frame, it hasn't gotten much better for Lee Taylor here in match number 2. A spare up for Lee Taylor, but he trails by 26. When we come back to Escondido, California, we'll finish up match number 2. And you knew it had to happen. Darrel Curtis with a double while we were away.
Naturally, we can't get any strikes on the air, but
there's Lee Taylor, and the fans erupt. All right, Lee, remember that shot. Remember the timing and the tempo. Go up and do the same thing on lane 27.
And again, no double dribble there or double bounce with the ball, but he's got to be so perfect then. But he better strike now, or at 36 pins, there's a lot to catch up in just 3 frames.
257 for Darrel Curtis if he takes this one right out the window. 221 for Lee Taylor. Might not be enough.
I'd like to see it right now. 221 sounds pretty good to me.
So would Lee at this point. More aggressive shot there. Come on, hold the pocket, and it does. So Taylor gathers himself for one last charge up the hill. The question is, the king of the hill right now, Darrel Curtis, may just be too far ahead.
Well, again, in pressure situations, Darrel has a tendency to go high. So let's see. Put a little pressure on him. Let's see what happens here. This is his good lane. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
That may be the best shot he's thrown.
Yeah. Puts it right back to 36 pins, and it can put the match virtually out of reach with one more strike. Right over about the first arrow, the 6th board. All just finishes perfectly in the 1-2 pocket.
Trying to apply the tourniquet, and a nice shot, but the 6-pin stands tall.
At good speed. He was aggressive on that all the way. He was a little right of his target, but the speed held the ball in the pocket, and he got away with just the spare. Last
night in the position round game, he was 6th, just kind of hoping to hang around, maybe get to the number 5 position, and he ended up going all the way to 3rd.
Right. Shot 226 or something like that, moved all the way to 3rd.
Solid game thus far for Darrel Curtis. Other than the very first frame, he leads by 35.
Lee is still not out of it. If he can get 1 here in the 9th and 2 in the 10th. But it's the must-strike situation here. Just to hurry. Nice shot.
Very nice shot for Lee Taylor, who splices the rack on the right-hand lane. Darrel switches chairs, and now the burning question for Lee Taylor, can he continue to strike?
Well, you know, I had him moving inside 3 frames ago. He knew what he was doing. He's got stayed right where he's at, made better shots, and gotten a turkey, and 1 more, and he can get himself back in the match.
It's funny because he seems to be much more relaxed now in the last 3 or 4 frames than he was in the early stages of game number 2.
And there's more pressure now. You wonder why.
Are calling for 1 more, and they get it. You know what it is? It's that survival instinct that kicks in.
It's interesting, though, Dan, psychologically, a player has a tendency, when he's behind like this, as we see Lee come in light here and just sweep him off with a power shot, and his reaction there, that he's come back to this point, and he's to the point now, 1 more strike, and he really makes Darrel show up. And sometimes they don't get this one here.
Darrel Curtis doesn't look overly concerned at this point. Oh, he set it short, waves for the Brooklyn, and Lee Taylor gets it with a big smile.
Did you see the difference mentally on that shot? He wasn't nearly as aggressive, nearly as relaxed. He had to get the break to get that strike. But as you talked about a few frames ago, 221 with a strike now. He's only 5 pins behind. Darrel Curtis is definitely going to need a mark with good count.
Amazing how these things flip-flop around. Halfway through this match, you got to figure there's no chance for Lee Taylor to win.
And no chance for him to shoot 221.
Oh, no. No. And he finishes strong. A solid game of 220 for Lee Taylor, who comes bouncing back after a very sluggish start here in the second game. This is the good lane for Darrel Curtis.
And he needs to count 15 in the 10th frame. High. We talked about him going high under pressure. He said, Lee, if you can get a Brooklyn, so can I.
High wasn't the word for that shot. You called it, Mike. And there you see is one thing you probably won't see on the PBA National Tour that you will see on the Seniors Tour is something like that, where he's throwing an errant shot, he gets away with a strike, and pats the other guy on the back, and there's a smile, and hey, I'll buy you a Colvin later on. You do that to a guy on the National Tour, he's liable to grab your arm and rip it right off. Well, he needed a break, and he got one. Really, other than the shot in the first frame and that one right there in the 10th, it was a very solid game for Darrel Curtis.
Yeah, obviously he's got a good ball reaction when he throws the ball well. He's got 2 Hall of Famers ahead of him, though, to win his first senior title.
Oh, the road's not going to get any easier. Of course, he's come close to winning a PBA title. He lost to Hall of Famer Tita Semez in the finals in Canton back in 1987. We'll take a break here from Palomar Lanes in Escondido, California. Coming up next, the semifinal game. Darrel Curtis and Dave Soutar.